Hi everyone and welcome to Classic Gamer 74. I'm your host Anthony, and look who's back, my friend Alligator. Hi everyone, and it's good to be back from Florida. One problem though. What's that? You forgot to tell me that the winter wasn't over yet. I thought it was. How was I supposed to know we were going to get a freak snow today? Ah. Okay, and today's episode is about games by Al. Yeah, that's the wrong kind of gal. I mean, games that were made by women. Oh, sorry about that. You said gal, and I'm okay. Anyway, today we're going to talk about some of the best games that were programmed by women. So let's get started. In the early days of Atari, they had two female programmers, Carol Shaw and Carlomon. Okay, a little background information about Carol Shaw, and this comes from Wikipedia. Shaw attended University of California, Berkeley, and graduated with a BS in electrical engineering and a computer science in 1977. She went on to complete a master's degree in computer science at Berkeley, and she was hired at Atari Incorporated in 1978. The first game that she programmed, Polo, which was thought to be a tie-in to the new cologne at the time made by Ralph Lauren, was not released. It is readily available in ROM format everywhere that Atari ROMs are available. Originally, it was supposed to be a premium for people who bought the cologne at Bloomingdale's in New York. The next game that she programmed would be released, and that was 1980's 3D Tic-Tac-Toe. In this game, there is a perspective drawing of four square boards or planes displayed on the screen, which is intended to create a three-dimensional effect. Each board is a 4x4 grid. The object of the game is to place four X's or four O's in one horizontal, vertical, or diagonal row. To do this, you may use one plane or all four planes. Now, the next game she put out that same year was Video Checkers. Now, it sounds kind of interesting that you're going to be playing checkers in a video game format, but if you think about it, it was a great idea. And why do you say that? Well, think about it. When you played that game as a kid, like with your brother or a sister, and one of you lost, what was the first thing that you did? Well, usually, especially if you rubbed it in, they would get mad and throw the checkerboard across the room. Right. And then what happened? Well, you would lose some of the checkers. Exactly. So this saves you from losing checkers if you lose the game. Well, that's true. Not only is it possible to play against someone else, but you can also play against a computer. Carol, along with some other game programmers, would leave Atari and form Activision, where she would program her greatest game and probably one of the greatest Atari games. Just Atari? Okay, one of the greatest video games of all time, that being River Raid, and you're looking at it right here. Amazing game. I mean, I can't even tell you how many hours I spent playing this game. Were you ever able to get a good enough score in order to get the patch? Nah, I wasn't. How about you? No, didn't. I usually got too enthusiastic and shot out the fuel tanks, and then I ended up, not doing so well. So anyway, later on we're going to have a comparison in our Best of Activision series where we look at the multiple versions of the same game. Okay, next up is Carlomon. She began her college career at Stanford studying math, but eventually switched to psychology because it sounded more exciting. She learned basic Fortran in high school from her mother, who was a programmer, and through this built an interest in computer animation. She joined Atari after graduating from Stanford University with a degree in psychology. The first game she programmed was 1978's Dodge 'em. In this game, it's kind of like racing heat. You're driving around on this track trying to pick up the dots without crashing head first into your opponent. Next, she became the programmer for the 2600 port of the game Warlords, which was one of the first, if not the first, Atari 2600 game in which four people could play simultaneously. However, her most ambitious project would be 1982 Star Raiders. This was a first-person space shooter game that came with its own special controller, the video touchpad, which you would use to navigate kind of like a real spaceship. Her final project with Atari was going to be a port of the arcade game Tempest. However, she left Atari before it was completed, and the prototype that exists was one that was not done by her. Well, these two weren't the only female programmers at Atari. In 1983, another programmer by the name of Suki Lee programmed this game Obelix. Is that how you pronounce it? I think so. You're the Cajun Gator, not me. Oh yeah, that's right. Obelix. Excuse me. And this was based on a French comic strip called Asterix. That is not really well known in North America. However, because of the large French-speaking population in Canada, this game was a big hit there, as well as in Europe. It got a very limited release in America, making this game highly collectible today. That reminds me of today's trivia question. What are the names of the first two video games to have female protagonists? You think you know the answer? How about you give me a hint? Okay, I'll give you a hint. One of them is a PAL exclusive game, and the other was a 2-for-1 deal. Think you know the answer? I do. Well, I know you do. Wait till the end of the video and see if you're correct. Strawberry Shortcake was a popular toy for girls in the 1980s. And of course, anything that was popular in the 80s got made into a video game. Exactly. So, in 1983, a programmer by the name of Dawn Stockbridge, who was a programmer at Parker Brothers, made this game, the Strawberry Shortcake Musical Matchup. In this game, you were trying to make the characters from Strawberry Shortcake, and when you get the characters correct, they not only dance and play a song, but it lets you know that you've got the character exactly correct by showing you their name underneath them. I used to play this with my sister, and she'd get mad because I always picked the Purple Pie Man, but I love this song. I couldn't help it. And for our final game today, we're going over to the world of Intellivision, and we're going to discuss the game Shark Shark, which was programmed for the Intellivision by Ji Wen Sao. Alright, I pretty much became addicted to this game the minute I played it. In this game, you are this little fish in the ocean, and you're eating fish smaller than you. Now, you're also trying to take out that nasty shark, and to do that, you have to eat at his tail fins, being careful not to let him turn around and get you. And eventually, once you eat his tail enough, he drops to the bottom of the ocean and dies. So you keep going around getting fish until you get bigger, until you become the biggest fish in the ocean. Really fun game, and actually it's kind of what you would call a sleeper hit, as Intellivision really didn't think that this game would become as popular as it has. And now it's time for the answer to today's trivia question. And the question again is, what are the names of the first two video games to have female protagonists? And the answer is Lily's Adventure, or Wanda Wanderer, which was created by Quell Games in 1983 and was released pretty much everywhere in the world except for North America. It's kind of, the best way to describe it is if Pitfall Harry were a woman. You jump over objects and keep moving to the right and trying to jump at the right times and not get hit by that annoying seagull that's always flying around. It's a pretty fun game, actually. Beautiful background, pretty cool sprites, but unfortunately, like a lot of PAL games, there is annoying music playing throughout. So if you would like to try this game out, go for it. It's a lot of fun, just probably might be a good idea to turn the volume down. And Ghost Mana, that was released in 1983. It was one of the two games on the Sonic Double-Ender cartridge with Spike's Peak. And I talked about that in a much earlier episode in which I discussed all of the Sonic's Double-Ender games. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Classic Gamer 74. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give us a great big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to click that little bell icon down there so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Please consider becoming a Patreon. You'll find the link in the description below. For as little as $1 a month, you can become a Patreon, and you'll have access to some bonus footage and some Patreon exclusive only episodes. In our next episode, we will be discussing rare and expensive Atari 2600 games, Part 3, so you do not want to miss that. Well, until next time, this is Anthony. Is that your phone? No, I think it's yours.
Hello, this is Mumford.
Yes, I talked to you last week.
Yes, that's right, it's me. I demand equal time.
Well, I'm afraid we ran out of time, so you're going to have to call next week.
I said I want equal time, and I'm going to be here next week, youngster, and you better talk to me.
Okay, then.